Hello, I'm Lina Ormoudou. Vincent McCurry is on assignment. This is Africa 54. Most of the victims killed in the downing of Malaysian airliner MH17 are one step closer to being repatriated to their home countries. A train carrying nearly 300 bodies in a refrigerated car arrived Tuesday in the government-controlled eastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. The train arrived from an area controlled by pro-Russian rebel forces. The bodies are to be handed over to the Netherlands, the country that lost the highest number of nationals in the crash. The arrival of the bodies comes hours after Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak spoke by telephone with rebel leader Alexander Borodai. Despite the removal of the victims' bodies, the crash site remains in control of pro-Russian insurgents, fueling suspicions that they are tampering with evidence to cover up their involvement. As VOA's Zlatica Hoke reports, there is a growing pressure on Russia to help enable an unrestricted international investigation.
A train with refrigerated bodies of close to 300 passengers left the rebel-controlled Ukrainian city of Torres Monday after days of pleading by officials and by family members to release the bodies for burial. Dutch investigators who were permitted to enter the train said the bodies were being stored properly. But pro-Russian insurgents continue to block an unfettered international investigation of the accident site. U.S. President Barack Obama on Monday suggested the rebels may be tampering with evidence.
They've repeatedly prevented international investigators from gaining full access to the wreckage. As investigators approached, they fired their weapons into the air. These separatists are removing evidence from the crash site, all of which begs the question, what exactly are they trying to hide?
President Obama denounced the Russian role in eastern Ukraine in some of his strongest terms yet, calling on President Vladimir Putin to cut ties with the separatists or risk greater international isolation.
Now's the time for President Putin and Russia to pivot away from the strategy that they've been taking and get serious about trying to resolve hostilities.
The Russian president on Monday said the tragedy should not be politicized.
No one should and no one has the right to use this tragedy to achieve their own selfish political goals. These events should not divide, but unite people.
Russian military officials on Monday challenged accusations that the separatists were responsible for shooting down the Malaysian airliner with a Russian missile, saying there are no satellite images to prove them. They sought to place the blame on Kyiv.
Russian airspace control systems detected a Ukrainian Air Force plane, presumably an Su-25 fighter jet, moving in the direction of the Malaysian Boeing.
Удаление самолета Су-25 от Боинга составило от 3 до 5 километров.
The United Nations Security Council late Monday voted on an Australia-proposed resolution demanding international access to the plane crash site and a ceasefire around the area. Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop was among those who spoke.
It demands that safe, secure, full and unrestricted access to the crash site be provided so the investigating authorities can carry out their work. It is despicable that this access is not being provided. It is an affront to the victims and their families.
Early Tuesday, the pro-Russian rebels in eastern Ukraine handed over to Malaysian experts the 2 flight data recorders from the downed Malaysian airliner. Zlatica Hoke, VOA News, Washington.